for a few seconds for everyone to join.
Okay.
All right, and I think we're live.
There you go.
Maybe somebody can let us know in Telegram if you can hear us, but I think this is looking good. So welcome all. My name is Sebastian. I'm founder of HOPR, and I'm here with Jose today, our head of engineering, who has been working on a lot of the magic behind the scenes at HOPR. And today is a great day for us. We would like to share a lot of what's been going on behind the scenes, what we've been building, and some things that are coming up next. So we wanted to take this opportunity to open up to the community, to you guys who will help us run our privacy network. And I would like to kick it off by talking about some things that we announced yesterday. So for those of you who have missed it, yesterday we, for the first time, talked about the HOPR token. And we released a Medium blog in which we go over the basic functions. So the HOPR token, which will be used along with the HOPR network, is basically having three functions. So you use it as a payment means. So if you run a HOPR node, you get paid in HOPR tokens for your service of relaying data for others. And what you've probably also seen is these animated GIF here from Reinhardt that kind of visualizes what's going on the network side. So in brief, if somebody is sending a HOPR packet that's hopping on top, Alejandro in this case, Alejandro is actually not just sending data around, he's also attaching funds to a packet. And these funds are equally split between the intermediate relay nodes, which send a message to the destination. So every single one of them is basically extracting a small amount from this payment that is attached to a message. And thereby we incentivize people to do what is best for the network, which is, in our case, relaying data. So in case of, for example, Bitcoin, you pay miners a fee, right? So you pay miners a fee so that they actually validate your transaction and kind of update the global Bitcoin ledger to reflect the latest state. And in our case, we incentivize relay node operators in a similar fashion to basically provide utility to all of us. And that actually brings us to the second feature of the HOPR token. It's a stake token. So for relay node operators to work, they need to stake funds. And they need to stake HOPR tokens. And with that, they are signaling, hey, I want to take part in this network. I would like to relay other people's traffic, right? So you stake tokens. And actually what is happening for the more technically inclined people, we're having payment channels. So we actually have probabilistic micropayment channels. And what this means is you're locking some amount of money to a bunch of people. So maybe I open a payment channel to Jose and to Rick and to Robert. And with these three payment channels, other people can relay traffic via Sebastian to these three nodes to which I have opened and funded payment channels. So effectively, the more you stake here, the more chances you have to relay traffic for others and thereby earn money, right? So that's the second feature of the HOPR token. And the third one is, and that's one that I'm personally very excited about, is voting. And that's also the reason for this call. We would like to have you engage beyond the pure technology. We would like you to have a word in how HOPR works and how we govern this protocol. So the HOPR token entitles you to voting. And this voting is not just, as we've seen in other crypto projects, to what is happening on a technical level, but also actually in my view, goes significantly beyond what we've seen this far, that people can engage in the legal entity behind the scenes. So we are a Swiss-based association, and you can have a say in the Swiss-based association, for example, in our General Assembly, for voting. And that is token-based. And that is something we will talk a whole lot more about over the course of the year. Our first step is, of course, the launch of the HOPR network, as well as the launch of the HOPR token. And we have something quite exciting planned here, but we will release that in the coming weeks. So again, we get this question a lot. So yeah, we did not yet announce any tokens. If you see any token, it's very likely a scam. So yeah, just be careful, beware of the fact that HOPR has not released any token yet. Yeah, but we have news on that very soon. So with that, I would, if you want to learn more, you can read the whole post. We also have details on the token release schedule, as well as the token allocation. So in brief, we have fairly traditional model, not traditional for crypto, but traditional for startups, in that we have a 4-year vesting for the team with no token released for the first 12 months after the token gets released. Also, of course, we have early supporters. So there is investors such as Binance Labs, Spark, Focus Labs, and a bunch of others. All these early token buyers are also locked up for a total of 2 years. And yeah, details can be found here in the blog. All right, and with that, I would like to hand over to Jose, who will give a brief overview of how the HOPR network will look like, how it will work. We do not announce the testnet just yet. We do not release it because we've seen a massive influx of new community members. We want to give everyone a fair chance to participate. We heard feedback that sometimes we're rushing it. Yes, so we want to give you some extra time to get ready. So this is a first chance to check in with how things work, and Jose will show you how our software looks like, how you interact with it, as well as some basic steps, what you can do with it. All right.
Awesome.
Hey, go for it.
Perfect. Thank you, Sebastian. My name is Jose. I've been very excited to work with the HOPR for the past few months, and I want to show you a little bit of what we're working, especially as we are getting closer to a major release. So as you all know, and we have been sharing some of the content around GitHub, I want to share you a little bit more what we want to present for you in these testnets and some of the advancements and progress we have done so far. As a word of caution, of course, as it's still a testnet and we're still not we're not ready in a full mainnet perception. We're still tweaking some things, but the idea is that you get familiar on what is HOPR doing behind the scenes, how is it working, and why can we guarantee the things that we are working on. So I'll show you very briefly my screen. 1 second. So 1 second. Perfect. Okay, I think let's just make sure.
We see a screen. Looks good.
All right, can you see my screen? Perfect. Okay. Awesome. So the first things first, we created an installation script. As all of you are aware of, we share a little bit of these instructions right now. This installation script is the one that we share for the community for installing HOPR into Ubuntu machines, and asks you to go to our privacy policy, which is very important. Right now, this is the easiest way to install it in Ubuntu. We will be providing instructions on how to do that on macOS very soon, using the same similar script. For people that are more familiar with npm, we also, of course, can install the HOPR-D based on your terminal, and allow you to actually interact with HOPR directly from your computer. Right now, the version we're working is 61.20. We, of course, are going to be iterating a few extra times before we complete for the testnet, but we definitely have locked the minor version, so to speak, for 1.61. So if you are on a battle, if you're running a previous node, if you participated in a previous testnet, which I think was 59, please make sure that when you're running and participating for the next text for this testnet, you make sure that you use 61. So I'm just gonna keep this running for a little bit. And also, what we're very happy to announce is for the very first time, Avado users, so people that purchase the Hopper PC or have acquired via DAppNode or any other provider Intel NUC PC that has the DAppNode or Avado ecosystem. We also release a package that allows you to interact with this node and pretty much work from your computer. The advantage over running an existing node is that you're going to be connected in different ways, and this is the first time that we're going to be testing for direct communication for the within Avado machines. On the Avado machines, we already did a test, I think, on version 1.17. But this time we'll be connected and we'll have a lot of the new features that we are doing on some of the things. So if you have already running, if you have already worked with the install and make sure that you have an application running, you're gonna see this interface, right? So some of the commands that we already know is address, information, version, and balance, right? So I think the very first things when you are running your Hopper node, make sure that you run these things to make sure that you are on the right version. So in Avado, I'm one version behind. In balance is you're corrected, and very important is the bootstrap server that you're connected is also the correct one. Same with a Hopper address, right? So these are the pretty common commands that we have had in the past. I think some of the new ones that we want to share you a little bit is the cover traffic. So cover traffic is some of the ones that we already have, that it's sending some messages behind the scenes, making sure that everything is we're sending this cover communication to help and chap some of the messages in the mixnet. But in addition, we also have done some of the automatic channel opening and closing channels for the system. So you already know some of the basic commands in terms of being able to ping with the node, being able to send messages to the node. But now this is going a little bit behind the scenes. One thing that I wanted to show you, for instance, there you go. So just in time, whenever there is a channel that has been opened, so if I have this open channel that I've identified, we can run this peers command. So peers shows you some of these users, and we're giving some quality that gives you access to the users that identifies some of the users and networks. So for instance, if there is this user that it's just not very useful, then I can close, the system will eventually close this channel and eventually will remove it, so we're not going to be using it. So for the time being, let me just get, if I want to open a particular channel, so let's say I'm going to have this one. I'm going to grab his address and I'm going to ping them directly from my Avado node. I can get a message back. If I run channels, then I will be able to see the balance between these channels, right? So I think we have it over here. So right now the balance is minimal. So for me, I'm just going to close the channel. I don't think it's any useful for me. So we can do close, and it will trigger the channel closure. One thing that it's important is, as I mentioned, we, as all of you know, we are powered by the Ethereum network. Right now, we have this running on the Binance Smart Chain network. So our smart contract information is logging all the interactions that are done against our payment channels. So in this case, for instance, I executed a channel network closure that allows me to define an interaction with a other particular node. This comes from my node, so you can see that my node is 0x0057 and ends with 3AFD. I have it here over here, right? So one of the reasons why we close channels and we open channels is because that allows to get the tickets and get the proof of work of the messages that we're sending. So for instance, if I send a message to this person, and I'm just going to send what we call a no-hop message. So it says like, hi from Avado. I think this is not the right address. Huh. Let me just try from another node. Let's see. Well, hi from node 1. Yeah, there you go. So if we send a zero message, what we call a zero hop message, the nodes can, they don't necessarily need to, they don't get paid for doing any of this work, right? So if I just did a zero hop message to another node, this is something, the functionality we have shown in the past. No one gets paid because this is something that it's been done directly. But the reason why Hopper is interactive and the reason we have been working so far is to allow to actually engage using these payment channels, right? So I'm gonna now close this payment channel for sure. So if you notice here, the channel says that it must remain open for at least 2 minutes. So we're gonna close it again. And then if 2 minutes pass already, then this means that the balance that was exchanged between these two channels will finally be closed. And then any tickets that were pending between these two users, now they are over, right? So for instance, in this case, we have a new method called on our smart contract. In this case, it's called claim channel closure. So any pending work that was done between these two parties are completely settled. This is already been solved between these two nodes, right? So in this case, let me just ping again this guy to make sure that I can work with it, right? So I'm gonna open now a channel. I'm gonna give it some funds. Let's say we're gonna give it this amount of funds. And then this allows me to now interact again with these payment channels. Right now, I'm showing you manually what we're doing behind the scenes. But of course, these are actually being done. You won't need to do them manually when we launch for mainnet. For the testnet, you might need to interact with some of the payment channels. You might see some of the errors that you will see here. In some cases, for instance, these errors might show up in the smart contract. As you can see, some of them, and allow us to continue testing some of the exchanges that are happening within the network. Because that, for instance, in cases you might interact with a payment channel that, for instance, the closure time hasn't passed, so you cannot close a payment channel unless you have waited a specific amount of time, and you cannot. I think the other error that we sometimes show is that, let's see, sometimes if you want to exchange with a payment channel, you might need to make sure that it was funded. So following on the comment from Sebastian, that in order to exchange properly with a node, you need to make sure that this data is staked and that all this information is available. I'm going to ping this node again. Open channel. Okay, so this is already a different one. I'm going to try to open again this one. Let me see if I can get this one open. Okay, so I have successfully opened a payment channel with this little person. And then I'm going to check with the contract. I'm trying to see if what happened there. I think it's this one. Let's see more. No, this is the channel closure. So let me just refresh very quickly. I think it might have been this one. No, it's the same one. Aha, I think this is different one. Yeah, should be this one. Yeah, okay. So we have an open channel operation, and this is when you kind of start exchanging Hopper tokens between them based on the amount of stake channels. So if I run channels here, let me see, it's going to take a little bit of time. Which one was the one that we're saying? It ends with EFQKD. This one. All right. So I have this payment channel, and it shows the amount of money that I will unlock on this particular one. So I can check some of the balance. Traffic start. And I'm going to start doing some interactions with the network, which will send some messages behind the scene, and I will allow you to see some of the interactions and messages that you will get. What we're going to be asking you, and again, this is just a small behind the scenes introduction of the things that are going to be happening behind what is going to happen with your Hopper node. On the testnet, we're going to be asking you to run your covered traffic to be able to debug some of the information on this particular node. So for instance, it will slowly send messages to other nodes. So you can see that it's slowly sending messages. The idea is that you were able to get those messages back based on your permit channel information. And in this case, they will look a little bit like this. So you will see some of these messages being getting, and then it will give you some information about the covered traffic and how reliable your node is to the network. So For instance, this message was stopped a long time ago because some of the channels run out of money. So for instance, now the reliability has dropped down to 8.15%, I believe. And then for instance, this one cover traffic stats. Yeah, this one was sent for a long time. That's pretty much it. Sebastian?
Jose, we had actually some questions from the community. So there's one question on if people could run this from the Google Cloud.
Yes. So we're definitely, for the sake of decentralization, we encourage people to run them from either a HOPR PC or HOPR PC or their own computer machines. However, the instructions that we have, so even for instance, the Ubuntu script that I'm showing allows you to run it from a VPS. And actually, we ourselves are deploying a few public nodes from Google Cloud Platform ourselves.
All right. Then there's a question actually about security of accessing the front end. Jose?
Good question. So right now, it seems that it's an important question, right? So right now, the front end is currently available to pretty much on your local host. However, if you're using a tunnel or an SSH tunnel, you can access from your computer. We are not a schedule for the testnet. We're still not adding any authentication. However, it's very likely that for the mainnet, we add, if anything, very basic authentication for the admin panel. If anything, we recommend most users to protect their admin UI with a firewall. However, on the admin UI, it's something that we can probably leave it. So instead of listening to 0.0.0, it will listen only to your local host. So then you can protect yourself via firewall or SSH tunnel.
Cool. Thank you for that. And just to add up on the first question that we got on if you can run this from Google Cloud, our goal is that you can run HOPR from wherever. However, always keep in mind that a cloud computer is just somebody else's computer. So going for actual decentralization, which is especially important for a privacy ecosystem like HOPR. We would prefer if people would run that from home. Now, we know that your laptops are going to be busy and you use them and you don't want to keep them running 24/7. So that's why we have this hardware nodes. So this is actually prepared by our partners at Avado. So it is a customized Avado node, which is a little box that you can see here that fits under your TV set, or you can shove it under your bed or whatever, running in a HOPR node. So this is basically just making your life easier. You can run it 24/7 from wherever you are without really having to worry about keeping your laptop on. So that is our contribution towards an actually decentralized ecosystem. It is not making our lives easier. So a lot of the delays that we were facing are actually because we want to allow you to run HOPR from home. Having NAT traversal, that is one of the really challenging bits that our tech team is cracking. So keep that in mind. A lot of the things that we're trying to solve are not easy, but we make the conscious decision to go that route because we want HOPR to run in a really decentralized fashion. And there was a question on where you can get that. HOPRnet, Andrew just posted it, hoprnet.org/node. It links you to the Avado site where you can get it. So hoprnet.org/node is where you can get it. Right. So
there's a few other questions, Sebastian. I don't know if we want to go through some of them.
Let's take maybe two more questions.
Okay. So just a quick one. Just the recording is available for sure. We will definitely share the recording for later, so you can take a look at some of the questions and topics that we went to. I'll take this one. So how do you plan to work with the HOPR community after mainnet? Any grants and programs? That's a good one. Sebastian, want to take this one or should I go?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, it's important for us to see kind of why do we do this, right? Do we do community because it's kind of entertaining? Yes, also. But the important thing is the Hopper network is run by the community. So Hopper Association is not running the network. So the network is run by you, it's run by the community. So yes, we absolutely plan to work with the community to enable you to run the network and to do cool stuff on top of Hopper. So Hopper is not planning to run really applications. Like it is not our goal that we provide applications on this network. We are the infrastructure level provider. We bootstrap this network. We want to enable you to build applications that you're excited about, that need that extra level of privacy out there. And these are the two primary avenues which we want to pursue in order to have a prospering ecosystem that helps all of us and helps us, as we say, change data privacy for good.
Awesome. Thank you, Sebastian. I think we can pick some of them. Can you freely configure the port required to open for Hopper? Yes. Does it work behind a NAT device, assuming that only one port needs to be forwarded? Yes, that's what Sebastian mentioned. This is exactly what we're working. Some of the challenges exactly come from being able to do punch holing. So that way you don't need to work on this particular problem. In terms of the configuration, Hopper D allows to pass on flags related with both the host and the port. So whether you want to expose it on particularly the admin UI, which is what we have mentioned about security, and also which port you want it to be listened to for sure. Other good ones. Does it come with a FireBite back? Nope, it doesn't. For submission form, a new guide to install. That's a real good question. We're gonna put on the so what we did in the past. Thank you for our great ambassadors and community managers. We share a Tripero form and other links where you can follow up on how to install. So in addition to this guide and what we're just doing here, we will definitely put some guides on how to provide your information, and we will definitely be, as we have done in the past, fund your notes whenever possible for Hopper tokens. So that way you actually can get it started with some, and I pretty much do exactly what we just did.
Cool. Thanks, Jose. I think we'll wrap it up here. Finally, as a final note, because we get these questions a lot, 3 things, right? So firstly, Testnet. As I said in the beginning, we had an influx of a lot more people joining us here. We want you all to participate in the testnet to check if your computer can run a Hopper node, to support you before we launch the main production network, to help you test this out. And we want you to help us test out Hopper as well. So we will release the testnet next Tuesday. The primary objective for us is to find out how well the connections work between one another. So you will do pretty much exactly what Jose did. We will ask you for feedback. And there will, as in previous testnets, be token incentives for participating in that network. And we would be happy if you join us, if you participate in the testnet and provide valuable feedback. Again, do not expect this thing to be perfect. We know we are far from perfect. We know we have a very difficult task at hand, but we consciously make the decision to solve this in a way that is decentralized and private first. Then the last question, which we still don't answer, is when token will be released soon. There will be more and more exciting news on that. Stay tuned. I have a feeling there will be more great news for all of you in the next couple of weeks. Thank you all. And if there's more questions, you always know where to find us on Telegram or on Discord. Happy to be working with all of you and really happy to see the engagement within only like half an hour of lead time. Thank you so much and see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. See you on Telegram, Discord. You know where to find us. Thank you.